Welcome back to another informative and exciting episode of POTCAST, where we cover everything cannabis and hemp. If you haven't subscribed yet to our channel, please do so, as this will help us sustain our channel. And remember to cannabis responsibly at all times. Welcome to another episode of POTCAST. I'm sitting here with Mr. Bruce, one of the few people who actually started the Social Cannabis Clubs. Very interesting. How are you, sir?
I'm well, and you?
I'm always good. Always good. So please just tell the viewers, obviously I just gave them a few info of who you are. Just tell them who you are, what is it that you do within the cannabis industry?
My name is Robbert Fenthum. I am a serial entrepreneur by trade. I've been involved in the clothing industry for most of my life.
Okay.
And 4 years ago, after our beautiful judge Dennis Davis gave us the permission to grow cannabis on our own private property, for our own personal consumption, in our own private space. Myself and another gentleman conceptualized the plan to roll out a franchise model for the people, by the people, that looks after clusters of communities and they're accountable to themselves. That's in a nutshell.
Very interesting. And that model obviously was the Social Cannabis Clubs.
Correct.
Okay. Can you explain what that is?
So the Concord's given us permission to grow our own cannabis on our own private land for our own consumption. So what we've taken is open source information and made it possible by subleasing plots of land that are 50 centimeters size to members of the cannabis social clubs that we've rolled out. And in doing so, that piece of land is now the members' piece of land. So if you had to come to a farmer with 300 plants on his property, every plant is individually leased or owned that piece of land, so it's not his plants. So that plant is now on his private property. It is grown for his personal consumption, which he will smoke either at the private space, which is his private members club, or his house. So it ticks all three boxes. And we've just taken it and made it work and aggressively pushed the system to accept recreational cannabis as important as medicinal.
That's very interesting. And how does one start their own social cannabis club? If let's say someone is watching right now and they're quite interested, like myself, they're quite interested in starting their own social cannabis club. How does one do that? What are the steps?
I would first suggest, and I would pick your brain asking you, how strong are you in your community? How much respect or influence do you have in your, doesn't have to be a community, your suburb or your area. And if you have influence, then that ticks box number one. Because you're going to have people that understand, respect. And then obviously there's the dark elements on the streets that the cannabis clubs are going to take bread away from their income. Our sole motivation is to plug those people that sell cannabis illegally in matchboxes or in bankies or in all the ways that we grew up and we knew. Get them off the street, show them what is a debit and what is a credit, open a bank account, register yourself as a temporary gardener, because we don't sell cannabis, we sell gardening services. That's essentially what we do. And get those people off the streets and grow for a co-op. And then in return, all their legal clients would not go to the corner of the spa at 8 o'clock at night to do their deal. They will go to their pharmacy or their dispensary or their club of choice to get the product and self-medicate. Because at the end of the day, the whole movement, whether it's my club, anybody else's club, we would like to put people in a position to self-medicate themselves without going through big pharma and the 20,000 regulations that don't do anybody any favors.
So you basically guide them to be able to have their own social cannabis club or be part of a social cannabis club legally.
Legally, as the Constitution and the legislation puts it forward right now, it's grey. We are right in that position as grey because there is no legislation just yet. So until there is, we aggressively pushing forward ours is the way to go.
So how are you communicating with these people to basically educate them and let them know that, look here, there's another way of doing this, and it's a way that is more safer? Are you hosting workshops? Are you going to the street to engage with these people that you may know of, or are they coming to you?
I'm not doing that just yet. Right now, I'm selectively choosing areas to scale in according to my footprint. If we were to go to Soweto, for example, I would need about 3 club's interests in Soweto because the community and the clubs need to look after each other.
Yeah.
You cannot really do it one club starting off by itself. So I would find 3 individuals scattered across a given area. Soweto is a very large place.
Yeah.
It's big enough for 4 or 5 clubs. And then I would sit down with those people, understand we have a private investigator on our retainer that goes out, he does his own research, looks into the individual, background check, so that we know who we're plugging into our model.
Yeah.
We're sharing that person with 8,000 members and 75 other farmers.
Yeah, it's
so
quite
we
risky.
have to know who that person is we're climbing into bed. So that gets done, and once the private investigator ticks that box, we engage on a business level. We're going to do site visits, going to speak to the people. I speak to the local law enforcement. I introduce the model to the local law enforcement. We invite them over to the club to put you, the franchise owner, at ease, introduce you to the local station commander, and we set up the first 3 months marketing campaign for you. We set you up with your own online marketing material where you get base templates to build your own club look and feel around, and then I'll come up and do monthly site visits to make sure that you are ticking all the boxes.
Wow.
I would strongly suggest that all those franchise owners know cannabis, because the biggest reward is each franchise, according to our model, is allowed to grow 50% of their club's members take off themselves. So that's your investment.
Yeah.
The other 50% will come from your community around that club. Let's assume 50% are illegal growers. We want to convert them to legal. And at the same time, we want all those illegal growers' clients to come to a safe environment and get their products. Right now in Paarl, for example, all the growers that were growing illegally, not all of them, most of them grow for us, and all the illegals, they say, excuse me, go to my cooperation, you'll get my product over there legally. I'm now a legal grower. Or I'm a gardener, or a garden lady, whichever way you want to look at it.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
It is
work
awesome,
that you guys
isn't
are doing.
it?
Yeah, it is like brilliant. Oh my goodness. You guys are, you found the loophole, if I may say so. Not completely, but you found the loophole.
I'll challenge you on that.
You really did?
Completely. I think we have.
Completely.
I've got a very good team. This is not a one-man show. I've got my skills.
Yeah.
My partners have their skills.
Yeah.
And we don't cross-pollinate over each other's roles. That's why I think we've managed to take what is a very difficult program and 4 years down the line, we're on the verge of something big.
Okay, awesome. So now let's say someone such as myself is interested, of course, in hosting their own social cannabis club, right?
Yes.
And there is no funding. Do you then assist in that regard? Because that's going to be one of the biggest questions as well.
Very, very good question. And if you asked me that question 3 weeks ago, I wouldn't have had an answer for you.
Okay.
But you've met Hansa.
Yes. Handsome, I call him.
Handsome. He's got his eyes. I know. We are setting up a finance option within One Culture.
Okay.
But you have to, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
You have to prove that you need it.
Okay. How do you prove?
We've just started this, so I don't want to come with a mouthful of teeth.
Okay.
But we're going to have an SOP that it's going to be, if you come from either previously advantaged, obviously the feminine aspect ticks a couple of boxes.
Yeah.
And then once you agree to our terms and conditions, we will fund it. We will set up the club for you, and there will be a payment plan, 6 to 8 months. We believe your return on investment will be no more than 6 months.
Okay.
According to the clubs that we've already opened.
Yes.
Each one has made its money back within the first 6 months.
What?
Correct. And that's why we are confident enough to finance our own expansion plans for the clubs if those people justify the need for finance.
Very interesting. You guys are doing such great work.
Again, we. This is a we program.
That's what I just said.
100%, yes.
That's what I just said. That is just beautiful. I mean...
And you should be part of the we. The franchise owners are part of the we. This is not a top-heavy thing. This is, it's one culture. It's not CEO culture or your culture. The point behind One Culture is it's colorblind. Absolutely. It's the founding rule number 1. And no ego allowed inside.
That is so wonderful. So what else are you doing, like in regards to the cannabis industry? Like, what's the next step for you? What is it? Where do you see yourself now? Where do you want to see the cannabis industry at, and what role are you going to play in that?
I think the cannabis industry, where we are right now, is going to climb on its own, and my support structure within my company is going to look after that. Personally, myself and my new colleagues that I'm venturing into and diversifying one culture to do more than cannabis. I would like to do microgreens, agriculture, snails, edible mushrooms, not the psilocybin necessarily one. At the end of the day, whatever you can produce in your garden at your house with no cost to travel to work is a win-win for me. I'm looking into wellness liquids. I'm developing something very unique, which if you're a part of or follow One Culture, you'll see this coming out soon. It's going to be a product that we will package as consciousness in a bottle.
Okay, consciousness
in a bottle.
Good one, good one. And let's say now one wants to be part of a social cannabis club. Is it costly for you to be a member of a social cannabis club?
Not at all.
It's not.
Any member that signs on would pay what we deem the lowest rate possible, which is 50 Rand a month.
Okay.
There's no reason behind the 50. It doesn't go anywhere specific, but it's to justify you taking us and our effort seriously by joining a private members club and to make the legalities of consuming cannabis in a private space. It has to be a private club.
And obviously you share cannabis, right?
Correct.
What's the highest quantity of cannabis that one can share for that membership? What is the highest?
Depending on the application you fill in, you would tell us what your consumption is.
Okay.
And then we would allocate a farmer on our books, could be you, could be your grandmother, to either grow indoor, sea of green, which is a small yield, or if you consume like a few of my clients, large numbers, then we would blockchain a plant that is outdoors, where you get anywhere from 500 to a kilograms per harvest. So as long as the stock file is registered and is always in a positive, there's no issues.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Bruce, for coming on to our show. It was so insightful. You and I still need to have more discussions.
How long are you here for?
I'm still deciding. On that note, thank you so much for watching, and please remember to cannabis responsibly at all times. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe, like, and share buttons below. We would also appreciate your comments. And remember to cannabis responsibly at all times.